Hello everyone and welcome to iReadit, bringing you your daily dose of the internet for Wednesday, October 4th, 2017. I am Michael Schwan.
And I'm Nathan Wood.
Please remember everyone, you can help support our show by going to patreon.com/dailyinternet. In addition, we do go live Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m. Alaska time. Nathan, how are you doing today?
Realizing my lights weren't turned on.
None of them?
No. Well, okay, so my bathroom light was turned on, which kind of like a bathroom light is, like a separate light, really.
Sure.
Real. My day was interesting, and I'll tell you why in my thing of the day.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I dropped a thing for me in the thing of the day, not a thing for you. I normally drop a thing for you and not for me, but this time I got one for me, so there.
Nice.
Anything else that you want to talk about, or should we just get into it?
No, just get into it.
Yeah, just get into it? Okay.
Yeah.
While I'm trying to copy and paste stuff so that I can actually start the thing and all that, I'm just going to go ahead and drop out that my day was mediocre and unproductive.
Mediocre.
Yep.
10.
Woman who made child porn videos to send a husband jailed for 30 years in worst case of crime seen in decades.
It was submitted by Bob Cobble to our news.
So this guy was already indicted on charges regarding these. He was already serving a 60-year jail term for the crimes because he had been abusing a 1-year-old girl and a 3-year-old boy.
That's some fucked up shit.
And so he was sentenced to that. And then, even past that, his wife, his wife continued making content for him and sending it to him.
And she's only getting 30 years?
No, yeah.
Which, I mean, let's be real, she's getting out early for good behavior.
Yeah, she was sending him photos and videos of particular children.
That's absolutely disgusting.
And after being caught, she explained that child pornography is the only thing that would sexually excite him.
Sucks for him.
Yeah, it does. You disgusting piece of trash.
That's fucking... There's some serious psychological problems there, probably from traumatic incidents that happened when he was a child, but still, like, that's some serious fucked up shit.
Well, and, like, I'm not going to show a picture of the guy, but, like, everything about him just screams. He's one of the people that has, like, multiple teardrop tattoos down his left eye, 3 of them on his right eye,
That means he's killed people.
Some tattoos underneath his bottom lip, but they don't look very good. Like, one looks like a really messed up S, like a fish hook, and, like, a sad skull, and I can't even tell what the other one is.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of facial tattoos. They work for some people, but I don't think I would be able to ever pull one off.
No, it just makes this dude look bad.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Those tears usually mean that he's killed people.
Well, that's what they mean to very specific people. I don't believe that's what they mean in this instance.
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't either, but go to jail, you garbage people, and I'm sad that we just can't just get rid of you entirely.
Yeah. Yeah, because,
9.
You have to be intolerant of them.
Yeah. Woman gets $400,000 package of Oxycodone. Wanted a yoga mat.
Why are you complaining? It was submitted by PRN girlfriend to our news.
Yep, so a woman went out to meet her local post person at the post office box because they were carrying a rather large package, and she was like, oh, it's got to be the yoga mat I ordered. She opened the box, and instead it was $400,000 worth of illegal Oxycodone.
All right, so first, whoever sent that to the wrong address is getting his ass fucking killed.
Well, it's not with what they believe, it's not so much that it was sent to the wrong address. With these type of products, what happens rather often, she had just recently moved. And so if somebody has moved, to make it seem like a legitimate package, they will mail it to the now empty address, still with that person's name. And then when they go to deliver it, someone will intercept it there. But because that person no longer lives there, there's no concern over it. Especially because in more busy areas, the post person doesn't normally think about, anything along those lines. In this case, though, the post office knew she had moved and didn't even attempt to deliver it and just immediately forward the package onto her new address.
So, wait, so she was supposed to receive
No. What it is like it's not the mob. But I'm just gonna say the mob for the sake of you, the crooks, the crime guys, to make it look like a legitimate, to be able to get it past scans and stuff. They mail it to a unsuspecting person at a legitimate address that they no longer live at. So, for instance, you know how you moved from that other apartment to the one you're in now?
Yeah.
They would mail it to you, even though you are not connected, not involved in any way. Mail it to you at your old address, and then intercept it when they try to deliver it there before it gets forwarded to your new one. But in this case,
Gotcha.
the post office never even attempted to deliver it to the old address.
They just forwarded it.
Immediately, because they already knew she moved.
That's wait. So it was labeled. It was labeled for her. So opening it wasn't illegal.
No.
Okay, that's hilarious. You stupid criminals.
Apparently, it's really common practice.
That's fucking weird. We had a guy in Portland. I think it was Portland. It might have been. It was either Portland or Seattle who got arrested for trying to ship an assload of, I think it was ecstasy pills.
Sure.
I knew that kid in high school.
Oh.
It was fucking weird.
You're like, oh, you went on to not be much better than you were in high school.
I was like, oh yeah, no, that's explainable.
8.
IRS awards Equifax a no-bid $7.25 million contract after the hack.
This was submitted by Silverfish, or Not the Onion.
Yeah. So the reason being, and this is a sole source no-bid order. What that means is that the IRS has determined that there is no one else capable of fulfilling this contract, and that means Equifax didn't have to bid on it. IRS just said, here we go, this is our contract, this is the terms, blah, 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 and then it was just an agreement between the two. Now, the reason being is that the IRS has decided that Equifax is the only company that is capable of performing this contract, period. And they also consider this service, which it's a third-party data service to verify taxpayer identities, and a lot of your taxpayer information is attached to your credit information, which goes through things like Equifax. And so they need that ongoing identification for the IRS to function. The only people that have the equipment to do that is Equifax, even if all of their information had already gotten, lost, essentially. Not lost, stolen, copied. It didn't get actually taken. It's just, been downloaded and stored away in someone's little, a hard drive.
So they could fuck up pretty big like they did and still continue and thrive, essentially?
Yes.
This is absolutely disgusting.
Well, here's the example, Nathan. Let's say you have, what's something that you absolutely require in life? Water. We'll just say water. So, and you can't substitute water for booze, Nathan.
There's water in it.
Yeah, there's water in it, whatever. So you have to have water to survive. The only people that can supply you with water is Nestle, with all of their water plants. And then you find out that Nestle just is horrible people. All of their water is gotten with by slave trade, and they, sell children or whatever, all this terrible stuff. And they know full well about it. They didn't tell anyone about it because it didn't come up. But then the year rolls around, and then you still need water, and the only people that exist is Nestle.
So you don't buy water.
Then you can't survive.
You steal water.
Because that makes you better.
I'm just saying, in that scenario where water is the only thing for me to survive and they're being dickholes about it, I'm not going to go and buy water from them.
Sure. Brett in the chat room says, why not TransUnion? There are the three big ones in terms of the credit companies, but apparently, they all have different systems and different availability of their services. Apparently, the other two don't fulfill the need that Equifax does.
I'm surprised that Equifax is still a company.
Right?
I'm surprised that their assets hadn't been liquidized the next day or so.
Yeah, Experian, that's the other one. So why they didn't choose one of those? I'm guessing because they can't do it. Whereas, regardless of whether the hack or not, that hasn't changed Equifax's ability to provide the services they provided before. They can provide all the same stuff that they already did. It's just they just had a whole bunch of information, downloaded.
I'm really surprised their shit hadn't been liquidated a lot sooner.
Well, yeah. Too big to fail, Nathan.
Man, I can't wait to get there that someday. It's like PewDiePie.
He's not too big to fail, though.
I don't know. He said the N-word on stream, and he still has an ass load of viewers.
He doesn't have nearly as much as he used to, though.
It doesn't matter. It's enough to live very, very comfortably.
That's fair. Well, and I mean, he had enough money anyway to live very comfortably, so.
7,
Despite fears that the legalization of marijuana might encourage use among adolescents, the rate of marijuana use among teenagers has dropped to its lowest point since 1994.
This is submitted by Xer to Ars Science.
So they continue to do checks. Most of these are through the National Survey on Drug Use and Health, in which, they're not going to get you for admitting that you use cannabis. They just want to know, because it's about collecting data. And currently, right now, it is 6.5% of individuals between the ages of 12 to 17 admit to using marijuana on a monthly basis. Now, this has drastically dropped from, well, I'm not going to say drastically, but it continues to drop. The previous number they provide here is that in 2002, the number was 8.2%. So, I mean, and it was 7.1% in 2014, so it just continues to drop lower and lower as it continues to get more legalized.
Sure.
It's not cool to do it if it's legal.
That was going to be my point exactly. There's a lot of things that kids do specifically because it's illegal.
Yeah.
There's a lot of kids who like to rebel.
Gotta be all edgy.
Yeah. And since it's not really, I mean, it's still illegal in a lot of places, but since it's becoming more and more accepted, then they're going to move on. You just wait. They're going to start doing that to coke, start doing it to heroin as soon as those things get legalized.
Yeah, I'm not so sure on.
I'm here for the legalized heroin convention.
That sounds awful.
There's a skit from the Eric Andre show where he dresses up as this crazy party goer. He's got his nipples showing through his shirt because he cut holes in his shirt for it. He's got this bottle of ranch, and he goes up to people and he's pretending to dance, and he's like, "Hey, do you guys know where the legalized heroin convention is?"
No.
And they're like, "No, what the fuck? Get away from me!" And he goes, "Yeah, I'll drink to that," and he starts chugging the ranch.
Wow.
It's fucking hilarious. I love the Eric Andre show.
6,
Bob's Burgers movie ordered up for 2020.
Speaking of things that I love, this is submitted by melanism.com to our movies. That's fucking exciting.
Yep, after winning its second Emmy, I mean, it just won one, and it won a Emmy also for Outstanding Animated Series in 2014. Fox has now put an order for a movie for Bob's Burgers to be released in 2020. July 17th is the specific date.
Fucking cool. Why the fuck haven't I gotten an Archer movie yet?
Because it's I don't know how Archer's pretty adult, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is Bob's
So
Burgers?
is the South Park movie, and yes, Bob's Burgers is pretty adult too.
Okay, I don't.
In one of the episodes, in order to make money during the summer, the kids all go around and sell weed, but they don't know it.
No, I mean, I've never watched Bob's Burgers or Archer, so
You're really missing out, dude. Both of those shows are incredibly hilarious. Archer's right underneath Rick and Morty for me.
Mm-hmm.
It goes right now, because of watching through Archer and Rick and Morty, it goes Rick and Morty, Archer, South Park. Those are the top three in my opinion.
Okay. See, I don't really care for South Park, but I do like Rick and Morty, so.
Right. I think I don't know if I don't know. I enjoy Archer immensely, and I think you would like Archer too.
Well, right now, me and Jennifer are watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. We need to
Finish that.
Yeah, we need. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we'll finish it. It's still a running series, but
catch up.
yeah,
technically.
we also need to catch up on the rest of the Rick and Morty season, and then we'll be looking for something to watch after that. So
Archer.
Archer. Well,
100%.
I will.
I would. I sat there and watched all 7 seasons of it in a couple of weeks because it was so fucking. I would come home, do the show, go downstairs, watch 4 or 5 episodes of Archer.
Well, I will pitch it.
It's so not okay.
5,
Flex Trillerson reportedly described Trump as a moron and was set to resign in July.
Hey, he was flexing on Trump. This is submitted by Skirgwort to our politics.
Yeah, Flex Trillerson, who was extremely unhappy back in July after the greatly politicized speech that Donald Trump gave to the Boy Scouts of America.
Oh, yeah, I can understand.
Well, and it goes beyond that. Flex Trillerson used to be the leader of the entire organization.
That's impressive. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he used to be the president of the Boy Scouts, essentially.
Yeah.
And so he was quite unhappy about that, and new reports are coming out that he was set to resign, and including calling Trump an absolute moron.
I love this. I want to see Trump's reaction to flexing on him.
I mean, he probably already knew about this.
Dude, I'm telling you, that has to be a DJ name. Flex Trillerson is amazing.
Brett, you can just go jump into a space AIDS fire, okay? He just told me to watch all of Supernatural. Like,
I haven't finished watching it. I got fairly far, and I realized it's literally the same thing over and over and over again with some pretty funny jokes every now and then.
yeah, and it doesn't catch me well enough either.
It's like one of them will die by the end of the season, and then at the beginning of the next season, the other ones have to go and try and save him.
And then at the end of that season, one of them will die.
Mm-hmm. And it repeats. It repeated that since like season 2 or 3.
Yeah,
I think it's 2 because 3 is when the Angels were involved.
I'm just not interested.
4,
Mexico slapped Trump in face by offering aid to Puerto Rico after his disastrous visit.
This was submitted by Ugly Pineapple to Our Politics.
Yeah. Good on you, Mexico. So
Mexico's been fucking really throwing their dick in his face.
Well, Mexico said today, after having done all they can, well, not all they can, after, recovering the immediate recovery after those 2 earthquakes they experienced, are now set to send 30 tons of bottled water and mosquito repellent in addition to several power experts in power generation, transmission, and distribution.
Do they have to go through... No, they don't, because the Jones Act was waived, right?
I don't know.
I want to say the Jones Act was waived, but only for like 10 days.
It was waived, and it was only for 10 days, but I'm not sure where that fits into this.
Okay.
But either way, good on you, Mexico, and thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm really happy that you're putting forth a lot of effort for this.
I'm not reading this entire next headline, so I'm going to summarize it, and then I'm going to say what it's talking about, okay?
Mm-hmm.
3,
London air pollution.
This is submitted by Matt Azahata to Our World News.
So apparently London has some of the worst pollution, like, ever. I was not aware of this. Anyway, recent reports have laid bare London's pollution problem, with several percent of the entire city exceeding the toxic particle limit set by the World Health Organization by more than 50%. 90 or 95% of the entire city exceeds the healthy level of this particular particle. It doesn't say what it is. It is just toxic air particles, which are just generated from your standard forms of pollution. No, 95%. And it's apparently real bad.
That's fucking... It reminds me of like when you see those movies or you see those pictures of the Industrial Revolution, you see all that fucking pollution in the air.
Well, if you open up the article, and I'm going to drop a picture into the show as well, that's kind of what it looks like. There's just this heavy smog that is covering everything. That's like China Light. Or like 1950 San Francisco.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's not good.
Yeah, it looks real bad.
Yeah, real fucking bad.
So
you guys should probably start cleaning that up like crazy.
Well, that's what they're hoping to do. They haven't set out a plan or a deadline or any funds towards it yet, but they have stated we need to fix this.
I mean, the first step is admitting.
I guess, sure.
So I'm happy to see that they've acknowledged this, and I am excited to see what they're going to continue or how they continue forth, because I bet cleaning up that shit's not easy. Unless you take a giant vacuum and just walk around.
Well, I mean, the thing you need to really do as well is prevent more from being generated.
Kill all of the Angus cows.
No.
It's all that methane, right?
No.
Oh.
2,
John McCain urges Supreme Court to return control of our election to the people.
Hey, this is submitted by one of three to our politics.
So one of the initial
This motherfucker is Tron right here. He fights for the user.
one of the initial hearings over the idea of bipartisan gerrymandering was conducted today.
If I was in politics as a Democrat, I would try my fucking hardest to work with John McCain because, like, he seems really fucking reasonable.
He's gotten a lot more reasonable ever since he got a friggin' tumor in his head.
I feel like it was before the tumor. Like, the tumor was more recent than some of the shit that he's trying to stop.
Well, here's what I think it is I don't think John McCain is going to run again. I think,
well, obviously not. He's got a fucking brain tumor.
Well, and what I mean is that he's done. So if you know that you don't need to get reelected, you don't need to make friends.
That's fair.
So
yeah, no, that's completely fair.
He's like, oh well, I don't need to play this stupid politics game anymore in terms of making sure that I retain my position. So yeah,
fuck all of you.
I'm gonna just start waving my flags around.
Good, that's amazing. I feel like maybe more politicians should be near death.
Well, and this is going to be... It just registered in my brain what you said.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, dude.
And maybe it'll help us.
This is regarding Gill v. Whitford, and this was spawned out of Democrats in Wisconsin who believe that boundaries were created in the states via gerrymandering that were made specifically to benefit Republicans. The Supreme Court in the past made it illegal for you to draw political district lines based on race, but they have never made a ruling or a judgment or even talked about a ruling based on bipartisan politics. And it's become a very massive problem because the party that is in control gets to draw the district lines, and when they draw the district lines, they're going to draw them in their favor. And with all the data you can collect on people nowadays, it makes it a lot easier to do that.
Oh, yeah, it does.
So, John McCain, as well as Sheldon Whitehouse, are now the largest forward voices in terms of trying to get rid of it.
Man, can you imagine that presidential run? Put Whitehouse in the White House?
Yes, I can imagine that, actually.
Dude, I don't know any of his policies, but like that would be a pretty impressive slogan.
Well, you know that he is a Democratic senator and he's opposed to gerrymandering, so there's two things.
That's some positive things.
Maybe as a start.
I mean, I'm not, a Democrat, but I tend to lean more towards Democrats than Republicans, and this is a bipartisan world, unfortunately, or at least this country is a bipartisan country. Unfortunately, I did vote Green Party last time, and I'll probably not vote for a major party again. And people think that that's throwing away my vote, but it's really not.
Well, and just to touch on that real quick, everybody, to those that believe or even say that voting third party is throwing away your vote, it is very, very untrue. And the reason why isn't because you believe they will win. Because right now, with the way that things are, a third party will not win. Period. Mm-hmm. They just won't. However, if a third party candidate running for president, and it doesn't matter what third party, whether it's Libertarian or Green Party or whatever, if their candidate gets 5% of the entire vote, 5%, and if you're curious where we are on those numbers, Gary Johnson got around 3.6%. 5%, they are now treated as an official party, just like the Republican and the Democratic Party. They are automatically included on every single ballot across all 50 states, automatically given a place in every debate. They are given a full platform the same way that both of the other major parties already have. So it's not throwing away your vote. It is and it's not a vote towards a third party. It is a vote towards a 3-party system. Or a 4-party system if 2 of them get over 5%.
Or more. I feel like we should just next election not vote for those two parties and find a third party that you enjoy.
So that's why third-party votes are okay. They're good. Now, the thing is that if all of those third parties were in one vote, they would have broken that 5% line, but we didn't get there. So, but that doesn't, I don't want to use that as a way to dissuade you from voting third party, especially if you don't agree with either the people in the two major parties. Don't vote for the lesser of two evils. Vote for who you feel you should vote for. Even if you feel like, oh, they're not going to win, well, give them the support anyway, because that support can actually matter.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely.
1.
More than 80% of all net neutrality comments were sent by bots, and researchers have found that 95% of all the organic comments were in favor of net neutrality.
This was submitted by Mavia to our technology.
Now, the thing is, when I say this, is that literally 80% were submitted by bots, but that doesn't mean 80% of them were negative. A good number of the bot-generated messages were negative against net neutrality. However, there was also a very good number of bot-generated messages that were in support of net neutrality. But from the information we can garner and the research that we can do on what is publicly available, 95% of actual comments, of organic comments that were typed in by people, 95% of them were in support of net neutrality.
As they should be. I bet that other 5% were all top head, like, 1%ers who fucking want net neutrality gone specifically so they can reap the benefits. It's either that or uninformed people.
We don't even want to say the 1%ers, because it's really just the telecommunications, because other major organizations like Google, Apple, Amazon, etc. are all in support of net neutrality. The only ones that are in opposition of net neutrality are people like AT&T, Comcast, Time Warner, GCI, etc. These major telecommunications companies, the ones who are actually affected by net neutrality, who are hindered by it because they can't do their nefarious practices, are the ones that are against it. Everyone else is in favor of it because it protects you.
And fucking, and it's not going to matter because they're not going to pay attention to this.
We'll see.
I have no hope in the FCC right now.
I'm not sure how that works. I mean, because even if the FCC goes forward with it, I don't believe that they have the absolute power over this, because, I mean, that it feels like too much power for just 3 people to have.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does, but you'd be surprised.
There has to be some way that it goes to, like, the Senate or something like that.
I would hope so.
Yeah, me too.
And I would hope the Senate is not also in the agreeance of the FCC,
yeah,
you know?
That's for sure.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Our first listener submission is U.S. forces attacked in Niger.
This is submitted by Athena Latine via private message.
Oh, I typed that wrong. There we go.
Latina.
Yeah, there you go. I also found out that only Americans pronounce it Niger, by the way. It is.
Isn't it pronounced Niger?
Not quite. It is Niger.
Oh, okay. Niger.
Yeah, and it is French, as that is the official language that is spoken there. Either way, so we don't have a large amount of forces in Niger. Instead, we have a small contingent force of special force operators that are there kind of like as support, information, reconnaissance, stuff like that. And they were attacked quite recently while they were on patrol with Niger forces, in which, like, it was a blazed out ambush attack. It seems to have been done by some level of Al Qaeda.
Is it Coney?
No, we're looking at somewhere along the lines of Al Qaeda forces. Currently, though, and when I mean how few we have, out of this attack, there were only like a dozen soldiers there, because they were all Green Berets, special forces that were there for very specific purposes. 3 of them have been confirmed dead. 12 of them have been wounded, and that's all the information we really have. We don't have any official say of how many sultans there were, who the official sultans, where they came from, how many people were on patrol. That's all we have right now.
That's some shit right there.
Yeah. So we might be seeing some activity in other places.
Yeah. Yeah, I would hope so because that's some fucked up shit for just. I mean, they're gonna see some kickback, sure, but I don't think it's gonna be on the scale of like Iraq or Afghanistan or anything.
Probably not. It'll also depend if violence continues as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if it's not just an isolated incident.
Yeah.
You make me sad.
Ottawa phone startup's fundraising bid dropped over copycat allegations.
This was submitted by Chris Ifield via email from Canada.
Well, I'm glad to know that we have someone from Canada listening to us. So anyway, the story.
Well, I mean, we probably got him from the Cringe Cast, right? The Daily Cringe. I'm sorry.
Oh, maybe. So either way, in this case, though, this is about an Ottawa-based mobile phone company that was literally called Frank. You are awesome. Your company's name is Frank. Anyway,
to be frank,
they got a message from Indiegogo that they had that there were several people that were reporting them that their phone was a copy of a phone that was already manufactured in Canada. The owner of the company and the leader of the Indiegogo explained that the phone's pre-made mold it's free market
of a copy in China.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And the phone's mold, like what they're using for the case, it's an open source pre-made mold that existed that is ordered off of Alibaba, which is essentially like China's Amazon.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a little more than just Amazon, but China likes to really wrap a lot of things into one.
Right, but that was the easiest understandable comparison.
Right.
However, even after that explanation, without any other follow-up or anything at all, Indiegogo just shut him down without notice.
That's fucking stupid. It's an open source fucking thing.
Put a big yellow banner across the top saying, "This campaign has been closed by trust and safety due to a violation of our terms of use."
But it's really not.
Yeah.
There is a cease and desist for nothing because it's an open source fucking thing.
It wasn't even a cease and desist. They literally was like, "Hey, so people are saying you stole this phone from somewhere else?" And he was like, "No, I didn't. Literally just the case. And you can order as many as you want off of the internet." Yeah, well, it looks like a copy, so we're going to shut you down.
That's fucking crazy. That's baffling as shit, and I hope he fucking wins because this is absolutely stupid.
Well, and it's not that he can't produce the phone. This is Indiegogo saying you're not allowed to crowdfund through us. He might be able to go through someone else. Like he might be able to go through like
GoFundMe or Kickstarter.
Or Kickstarter. So, who knows? Hopefully
so fuck you, Indiegogo.
Hopefully it works out. Who knows?
Yeah, I hope so.
I'm Mr. Meeseeks. Look at me.
Nathan, what did you care about in the last 24 hours?
Yeah, there's two things, right?
Okay.
So there's the thing that happened at work that I'm about to explain. The first thing, though, is that someone dressed like the Monopoly guy at the Senate's Equifax hearing.
Yeah.
And he sat behind them the entire time, just playing with his monocle and
his bright white mustache.
It's so good. I'm fucking crying. It's so funny.
The perfect troll. So what happened at work?
Okay. So I found out that one, the one complaint I got initially when I first started working didn't actually count towards a complaint because I was still like very, very new.
Mm-hmm.
I got my first actual complaint today.
Oh yeah, what was it?
So this lady comes in and she has to pay her fines and she has receipts from her programs to apply to her fines. So I go and I grab her file. I then take it over to our criminal legal tech to put everything in. And she turns to me and she goes, "I can't do this." I go, "Why?" And she goes, "Well, the fine itself had been transferred to collections a year ago because she didn't pay it in time."
Okay.
And then after that, she has another $1,000 fine that can't have anything credited to it because it's a fine based on the fact that that you converted your ASAP to a fine. Because when you are arrested for DUI or OUI up here, they make you take this thing called ASAP. I don't know what it's an acronym for, but it's an acronym, and it's like a course essentially, and you have to pay for ASAP, but your ASAP payments get credited to your fines.
Okay.
Well, she didn't want to do ASAP, so she was like, "Hey, can I convert this to a fine?" And they were like, "Yes, but that fine can't have anything credited onto it. She has to pay that $1,000 chunk."
Makes sense.
So I tell her all of this, and I tell her other fines have been credited to her and that she can go to City Hall to pay it off.
Okay.
She then starts, getting upset because she can't have those things credited to her fine. And then she then asks me if there's anything she can do to get her fines back from collections. And I turn to my coworker, Patty, and I ask her, and Patty's like, she can put in a request, an order, or a motion. So I tell her that, and she then goes, let me ask you a question. Why didn't you tell me that first instead of trying to send me over to City Hall? And I go, well, I didn't actually know. I'm sorry. And she's like, well, why didn't you? And she kept doing that over and over again. And I got super pissed off to the point where I actually bit my tongue. And I was like, all right, here. I hand her a motion. I hand her a request and order. I'm like, you can go fill that out in research because I'm not having you at my window anymore. There are people behind you waiting, and you are done with your transaction.
Seems fair.
I send her back. She then goes back there, complains to the research clerk to get my supervisor out so that she can talk to my supervisor.
Okay.
She then tells the entire story, and my supervisor goes, well, yeah, he's correct. He was in the right because that is considered legal advice, and he's not allowed to give you legal advice. So then she goes to his supervisor, and that's where I lose it. Like, I don't know what happened after that, but
that's amazing.
I was so happy. And then he calls me back to his little cubicle, and I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm in trouble. And he's like, hey, you got a complaint against you, right? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, what are you allergic to? I'm like, what? Coconut and palm. And he's like, yeah, me and one of the other people were talking about putting together, we're thinking about it. We're putting together a potluck for your first complaint. And I was so happy. I was like, oh, I love potlucks. This is amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I hope they do it. I'm excited.
Today I learned that researchers tried 2,000 times to ignite gasoline with a cigarette and failed 100% of the time.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
Well, this was submitted by Reader Board art today, I learned. Well, what about those people who do who smoke at gas stations and everything?
No, they're not nearly a concern, as much of a concern as you think they are.
Didn't Mythbusters do a test where it was like, can your static electricity from your underpants or something cause an explosion?
Something like that. So here's the gist of it, is that a cigarette burns at approximately 800 to 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. And it only takes 500 degrees, 495, to ignite gasoline. However, when we're talking about the temperature that a cigarette burns, this is specifically when you are burning it.
Yeah, inhaling.
When you are pulling a drag off of that. And if you're doing a long, powerful drag, then that temperature can get higher. However, if you are not taking a drag off of it, the temperature drops immensely. In addition, the actual flame is mostly inside the cigarette. Very, very quickly, a little shield of ash and stuff builds around the outside. So what this means is that it's almost impossible for you to ignite gasoline. The other problem is that gasoline itself is not nearly as flammable as the vapors that are put off of it. So the other problem is that, like, when you see someone in a movie drop a cigarette onto gasoline and it goes...
Yeah, like in Final Destination 2, that it caused this chain reaction to explode this car, forcing this lady's face into... or this airbag to push this lady backwards so the back of her head gets impaled on a metal spike, this causing the wire fence to explode, cutting another man in half.
Sure, exactly. That basically can't happen because there's not enough vapor in the air in an open space for the vapor to ignite. And with the cigarette falling, creates that little shield of ash and also cools the internal flame so much that the flame basically can't reach the gasoline and it's not hot enough anymore to actually ignite it.
That's awesome.
There is a very, very specific, perfect scenario that is borderline impossible to create that allows you to ignite gasoline.
But still possible.
It is technically possible. However, they attempted 2,000 different scenarios and situations and could not get any of them to ignite gasoline.
It reminds me, I have a couple friends who work with airplanes, repairing and everything. My uncle Joe works with airplanes. My friend Colin does. My friend Colin had told me when I was a kid, because he was my youth pastor, he had told me that you can take a match and throw it into jet fuel and it will smother the match.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, I think this fucking shit's all kind of cool.
It's weird. All right.
I just like explosions.
All right, let's get out of here, though.
We had a couple more user-submitted things, but we'll probably save them for tomorrow.
Yeah, they are, in fact, saved for tomorrow. We had two others that were sent to us, and that is from Chadwick and Brianna, but we're already at 40 minutes with those two that we had, and including our stuff, so they will go on tomorrow's show. But I do want to give a very sincere thank you to everybody for sending us stuff. I appreciate it with the muchness.
Thank you, guys. It's a lot of fun for us.
At that point, though, it is time for us to get the hell out of here. So if you'd like to help support this show, if you get value out of it, consider showing us some value back. Patreon.com/dailyinternet. If you can spare $1 a month, $12 a year, or maybe just a little bit more than that, whatever you can manage, please send it our way. Once again, that is patreon.com/dailyinternet. Other ways that you can help support us, leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Play, or you can also follow and share us on any form of social media. That includes YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. All of those can be found at iReaditCast. Otherwise, you can leave us our stories, your stories, as a couple people did today. We will read more tomorrow by sending us an email to our inbox, which is feedback.ireadit@gmail.com, or call and leave us a voicemail at 508-738-2278. That is it, everybody. That is your 361st dose of the internet. I am Michael Schwan.
And I'm Nathan Wood.
And please remember, everybody,
Don't get twisted!
Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.